Hello, welcome back to the True Crime Lounge. Here we speak murder and true crime. This is the podcast to my YouTube channel. I also have a Patreon that you can go and help support. You don't have to, but if you do, you get early access to episodes the day before they come out. You also get early access to new merch shop items as well. Um, I also have an Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Now, since we have that out of the way, let's dive into today's episode, shall we? This is a pre-recorded episode, and because I am in school and I do work American outlaw and was one of the most notorious gunfighters of the American West. Although he claimed to have killed 21 men, the actual number is likely less than 10. At the age of 21, he was gunned down by Sheriff Pat Garrett. So, like most of you are probably wondering, how did a New York boy end up in New Mexico? Well, even though he was born on the east side of New York City, he was a child when his parents moved to Kansas. After his dad died, his mom moved the two boys to Colorado, where she remarried. Then at this time the family had moved to New Mexico in his early teens. Billy fell into a career of thievery and lawlessness. He did this by wandering throughout the Southwest and northern Mexico often with gangs. In December 1880, he was captured by Garrett and stood trial for murder in Mesilla, New Mexico. In 1881, he was found guilty and sentenced to hang. However, he would escape April 28, killing two deputies and remained at large, and he was tracked down and ambushed by Garrett once again. Garrett would shoot him dead on the evening of July 14th at the ranch home of Pete Maxwell. His grave is in Fort Sumner, New Mexico. If I ever get out there, New Mexico. This is one of the things I really want to see so bad. But as a kid, he went to name Henry McCarty. Several opinions are divided over whether or not William H. Bonney Jr. was his real name. Some even believe that he was Ollie I. Roberts, who had escaped and lived in New Mexico in the U.S. Southwest. Over the night in July 14, 1881, Sheriff Pat Garrett gunned down the outlaw in Fort Sumner. He recently caught the kid and was sentenced to hanging for another sheriff, but Billy managed to escape. Garrett became involved again, but he heard a tip from the kid was hiding out in the fort. Billy's last night from the point of view, you can go and read a lot of this. It's really interesting actually. So a year after pulling the trigger, Pat Garrett wrote and published an account that happened that night, and you can find the account. Billy the Kid was up for a posthumous pardon for the murder for which he was hanged. Bill Richardson, the governor of New Mexico, declined this parole. Declined due to declined to follow through with that pardon. So, what do you think? Does he deserve the pardon? Well, for anybody who loves the Wild West, he he is a post that is sure to. Billy the Kid had long been one of the many associated with the Wild West, along with the Bob Dalton Gang, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, Cole Younger, Jesse James, and more. What you may not know is that the long dead kid, may be up for pardon the current New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. So, why is Billy the Kid up for this pardon, you ask? Well, time for a little history. Shall we go on? Um, while still young, his family relocated to New Mexico. Unfortunately, by this time, the kid was 15 and his mother passed away from tuberculosis. It was at this point that many sources of the kid in his life of crime started with stealing and progressing to murder. Other sources state that without parental guidance, the kid simply got a bad start to life. He joined the wrong groups and wound up running from the law. Okay, I'm gonna say something real quick. Honestly, I really think that that argument can be debated because you don't like getting a late start to life. It's kind of skeptical on that. You guys know what I mean? Anyway. Hmm. Anyway, he joined the wrong gangs and wound up running from the law. And one misstep in the kid's life was his affiliation with the Lincoln County War. As the result of one of many ambushes that occurred in Lincoln County. That occurred. The Lincoln County Sheriff William Brady and one of his deputies were found dead, having been shot by the kid when Billy became a fugitive. At some point after these murders, Lew Wallace became governor of New Mexico. Now these stories are actually seem to clash, and so with, but it's safe to say that he did end up in custody. He made a deal with the governor that he should testify against the persons involved in the Lincoln County War, that he will receive full pardon for his involvement in Sheriff Brady's death and other misdeeds. The kid testified as promised, but the pardon was never granted. So, the kid escaped custody, eluded for the law, and for the next 2 years, he became an outlaw. Garrett was elected sheriff and sent after him. Once again, the kid ended up in custody. This time, however, he was sentenced to hang for the death of Sheriff Brady. So, while in prison, he would escape again. And you might say he has a history of escaping. Anyway, the kid was killing 2 guards in the process. Once more, Sheriff Garrett sent after the kid. This time, the kid encountered the sheriff, and it would be his last. On July 14, 1881, Sheriff Garrett, under the covers of the shadows, shot Billy the Kid in a residence at Fort Sumner. Some believe that Kid, as a Brushley Bush, lived on Brushley Bush Roberts, but others believe that the kid was in fact buried the next day in Fort Sumner Cemetery. At some point, there has been a movement which is opposed to that movement to have the supposed bodies of Kid and his mother exhumed for DNA testing. A judge apparently ruled against this, but that hasn't stopped Governor Richardson's interest. So, But what do y'all think? Do you think that he deserves to be pardoned like he agreed to, or what? Even though he's long dead, but it's still interesting case though. That is it for today's episode. Remember that I do have an Patreon you can go check out. You can also find me on social media as well. I will see y'all next time, and y'all have a great day.